Hi, I'm Dr. Joe. This is part of the Spravato series of Dr. Joe Shares. I'm making this video because when I first started, I had no idea what was going to happen during the Spravato session, and I was really nervous and scared that I would have, a breakdown, or I would have a PTSD flashback and feel really out of control or something. So I thought I could make a video and go step by step what happens from the minute you get there till when you go home. So it's a longer video. Please fast forward and also check the text below to see where to fast forward if you have certain issues that you actually really want to hear about. So the first part is the pre-session. Every time you go, there's paperwork on your mood because they're tracking how your mood is going to change with the anxiety and depression. And then there's all these legal waivers about that that you're not allowed to drive and that you're going to have to wait. So there's paperwork. Then when you get called into your room, they take your vitals and they put on a monitor that measures your blood oxygen, your pulse, and your blood pressure, because apparently I think Spravato can cause your blood pressure to drop. And the monitor stays on your hand and wrist throughout, at least at my clinic. I'm sure other clinics probably do the same thing. It's probably a regulation. My clinic does not have any eating regulations or restrictions, so I can eat whatever I want to. Some clinics might. The first session, you get a practice spray. Because it is a little tricky, it's a nasal spray, so you get one time to try it for each nostril. At my clinic, I'm also offered Zofran right away. I took it the first 5 times because I do have a history of feeling nauseous or not eating, being picky about what I'm eating, so I thought I would try it. But the 6th time, the nurse didn't have it right when I started, so I thought, well, I'll just try it without, and I was fine. So I think from now on, I'm not going to take Zofran. They also offer a calming medicine if you want. I think it's some kind of Benadryl. And I did use it one time when I had a really hard time and I was crying a lot. But that was only the one time. And I've had 6 treatments and I was only crying a lot the one time. So not to scare you off. The nasal spray process, so you spray it yourself. It's not done to you. They hand it to you. It's in a plastic vial and it has a spray for each nostril. So 1 dose is 2 sprays. And when you spray it up, then you can hear it click, and then you do the other side, and it'll go click. And I started out with 2 of those, so 4 sprays, but 2 plastic vials that has 2 sprays in it each. And then I think it was my 3rd session, they offered me the 3rd one, so I'm up to doing 3 at a time, and I don't think it's going to get higher than that. So the nasal spray process, you'll do a number of sprays depending on your dose. I think it's fairly common that typically you start out with 2 of the vials. So each vial has a spray for each nostril. So it's actually 2 sniffs that you do. When you first come into the room, they give you the first one. So you do a sniff and it clicks up each nostril. And then they leave for 5 minutes, come back, give you your next one. And then if you're doing a 3rd one, then they leave and come back, the 3rd time. So it's a little tricky. Sometimes I feel like some of it just went down on my lip, but usually I get it up there. It tastes somewhat, it's not like horrible, but it doesn't taste great because it can go back in your sinuses a little, so you're like trying to swallow and stuff. But my clinic offers Tic Tacs that you can suck on, and I did try that, and it actually helped a lot to suck on the things. I didn't try it at first because I thought maybe I would choke or something, but while you're under the influence of the Spravato, so but I didn't have a problem with it, and it helped. And then that also goes away. It doesn't last too long, maybe 5 minutes, I don't know, and I suppose for everyone it's different. So during the session, you're going to you'll be in a private room, and again, this is my clinic, but I'm assuming they don't have the I don't see any clinic where they would have the money to have somebody monitoring you in the room the whole time. It's a quiet environment. Usually they ask you if you want to turn off the lights, and sometimes they have like those glowy lights so you can see different colors on the ceiling. They usually have, my clinic has all different kinds of chairs. Each room has a different chair. Some are better than others. Some are really nice with heat and massage, and you can go back and have your feet up. I always bring my earbuds, and I found that Spotify has a lot of Spravato and ketamine therapy playlists, so I found some of those I like. I also found some like quiet cello music that I like to listen to. And the last time, for some reason, did all the quiet kind of music, and there's some that's scientifically based from John Hopkins with different hertz and stuff. But I was actually listening to AC/DC at the end of the last one, so it actually sounded really nice. It was fun. But anyway, and during the session, I've never fallen asleep, but I don't think it's uncommon. One of the nurses told me that it doesn't matter if you fall asleep, that the medicine is still working in your brain. But I'm not sure that's, when I Googled it, it seemed like there's this idea out there that you're not supposed to fall asleep when you're on Spravato, but I really don't know. And it is one of the questions that they always ask me at the end, but I'll get to that. So usually it lasts about, for me, maybe a half an hour, and it depends. I mean, each time is different, but maybe a half an hour, and then I start to feel a little more like myself, like I'm coming down. So after the last dose, the effects of the medicine usually last 20 to 25 minutes. Sometimes my last time it lasted longer, like maybe 30 to 40. So I think it really depends on I asked the nurse, I said, does it matter like if I've eaten or not? And this nurse, he said that there's so many variables that they don't really understand. But so you are left alone, but there's a call button that you can use if you need anything. And I did end up, one time I was crying during the session, and I pushed the button because I really didn't want to be alone. And they came right away. So if you're worried about being alone the whole time, yeah, I think they'll always have a call button. So my experience was good when I used that. So afterward, there's this observation period, they call it, but nobody's observing you, but you're just coming out of the effects of the medicine, and each time it's a little different. Like I said, a lot of times I'm basically lying there for an entire hour or more before I actually like sit up and do something like my word puzzles or watch Netflix or journal or call a friend or text a friend. But during that time, I would bring things that, to do, so that some people read. For me, I can do my word games, but I can't imagine actually reading a book and being able to focus on that. Each time is different, though. The last time I went, I only felt like I really could do anything the last 10 or 15 minutes. And after, you don't get to leave until 2 hours after your last dose. So you're there, if you have three of the vials, then you're there for 2 hours and 15 minutes in the room. And you're not allowed to drive. You have to have somebody pick you up. And at my clinic, we're on the second floor, so you're not allowed to take the stairs. I did one time by accident. The lady didn't stop me, and I just forgot. But apparently some people have fallen. So if there is an elevator, take it. I wrote just a few pros and cons. So pros, you don't have to talk during the treatment. You're by yourself. There's the possibility of deep emotional healing. The sessions build on each other, so I feel like I do feel really different now after 6 treatments. The research shows that it has led to really big breakthroughs for a lot of people, emotional opening. I definitely, I think even just in the session itself, I've had some like awakenings that were interesting, and I think it was like rearranging how I view view different things. And then also the sessions are just they can be really nice. The last session, I was just really enjoying the colors that I saw in my brain, and all the I saw different patterns, and some of it's a little weird, but it can be very enjoyable. And if you tried a lot of medications, a lot of therapies, a lot of talk therapy, this and that, I mean, there's just so much out there now. But if you've tried a lot and you're still suffering in various ways, that this gives you hope that your life can get better. So the downsides are that you have to arrange rides, and it's a lot of appointments. So that or you have to pay for public, or I wouldn't take public transportation home. I don't think that would be safe. But you'd have to pay for a taxi or a Lyft or something. And it's a big time commitment. It's 2 times a week for the first 4 weeks, and then once a week for I think another 3 or 4 weeks, and then they come up with a maintenance schedule, and everybody's maintenance schedule is different. It could be once a month, or it could be every 2 months. I don't know. For me, the insurance and copay was a little difficult to figure out, but they actually just called me, so I didn't have to figure out who to call. But I did have to the CVS specialty pharmacy, which is who just defaulted who I went through. I don't know why, it just happened. They called and told me that I had to call the drug company to get these numbers, and so then and I think also the drug company was calling me, Johnson & Johnson, so then I had to pass on these numbers, call back to CVS, the specialty clinic, or pharmacy clinic, or whatever it's called, and I had to give them numbers. It's like I don't know, it's like the numbers you read off on your insurance card, but it was their numbers, and that brought my copay down from something like $990 a dose to $10 or something. So I actually haven't seen a bill for the medicine yet. I've only seen the bills for the sessions. But my friend, who also is in he's much further along. He's been doing it twice as long as I have. He didn't have to do any of those phone calls. It just all worked out for him. So I think it depends on your insurance. So that's one downside. And then the other thing would be not everyone gets relief right away. Some people get relief from whatever they're suffering from, within a session or two, but not everyone. I know I didn't. But I did not want to give up, because this was I felt like this was one of my last chances. I mean, if this doesn't work, then I would do ketamine with the TMS, but that's even a bigger time commitment. So I was really, really hoping that this would work, and I'd set up all the rides, and I'm not willing to quit. So, and my mood did lift, so I'm feeling a lot better. Okay, so at the end of the session, when they come and get you, then they always ask you the same questions. 1, they ask you if there was any sedation. 2, they ask you if there was any dissociation. And 3, they ask you when you thought you could go home. So usually, I always thought I could go home 30 minutes to 45 minutes before. My friend says he always feels like he could leave an hour ahead of time. This last time I went, when I felt like I could only leave 10 to 15 minutes, and I guess I already said that, sorry. But the dissociation, I've never had it until this last time, but it wasn't scary or anything. It was really nice. I was on a boat, this canoe, and I was lying back and just floating, but I was definitely not in the room. So, but otherwise, so I guess I wasn't sure that was dissociation, but the nurse said, yeah, that sounds like it. But I just, one final point, I just enjoyed it for what it was. So I as the sessions have progressed, actually just after the very first one, I just said, okay, I'm just going to go with this. I learned to not have a upsetting conversation right before you go in. That was the one time I was bawling in my session. So I try to be relaxed and talk about nice things with whoever's driving me before I get there. And I go into it just feeling like, okay, I'm just going to, let this happen. And I definitely have issues with control, but this is doable. And so it feels, I don't feel like I'm losing control. And so I just went into it. And so that little bit of dissociation that I felt, it wasn't scary. It wasn't scary for me. And I just wanted to say that everyone's experience is different. I'm sure every clinic is different, despite there being some regulations with the FDA. And this was just what it's like for me. And again, I'm making these videos so that just in case it helps other people who are trying to figure out if they want to do Spravato. And I make the whole video series Dr. Joe shares, because I really believe that the more we talk about this stuff, our personal stuff, the more we talk openly about it, the less shame we're going to carry, and the less shame all of us together are going to carry. And we're all going to just like spit on the shame and say, enough. We're all human, and we all have suffering, and we all have things that we want to hide, but we really don't need to, because we're just all so much alike. So I really hope that these videos are connecting with some of you out there. If you made it to the end, thanks a lot. Hit like and subscribe. Thanks.